And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Hey, thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you are listening. It's January 12th. It's Monday. It's 2026. Hope you're having a good day. Hope you had a good weekend. Got back from cold New York, and I'm in cold Florida now. Got a little cold spell here. Yay. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, with no agenda, ulterior motive, or bias, we have a lot to discuss today. You know, every now and then say, oh, you're biased. No, we're not at all. We care about a few things when it comes to what we do on the show. Free markets, capitalism, Washington, D.C., not full of crap, and you. That's it. In a nutshell. And the crap that we are being served right now can fill a few kegs, and we'll get to that in a minute. We'll also do the markets, because there are sore thumbs. The economy, your job, your industry, and the very newsy weekend. And if you do not get this show in your city, we will post it at GaryK.com. We'll also post it on our X feed. If you don't follow us on X, you should. We'll also post it on podcast apps as well as the BizTV YouTube channel. If you'd like to email me, it's pretty simple. You be nice. Disagree with me 1,000%, but be nice. What a concept. Let's start out with the most important part of the equation. We're now 4-0 in our football picks. So we have told you that when it gets to the playoffs and big college games, I don't know how we got there. We just have this tremendous knack of winning. And we've given out the Super Bowl since 2000. I think we've lost 4. In the playoffs, which we stopped doing a few years back, we were like 75%. In big games, we hit most of them. And we just decided to bring it back this year. We're 4-0. We just gave you the over in the Miami and the Bears. And I must state for the record, I don't know how the Bears won that game, but they did, and they covered. That's all. So we're 4-0. We're very picky about not doing too many games. And we'll keep coming at you. But we're 4-0. I believe there's a game tonight, but I really don't have an interest. What is it? Houston Pitt? Yeah. Houston's the better team. Great defense. Pittsburgh has an old Aaron Rodgers, still good. Houston's -3. I don't have a feel. So we're going to take a pass on the game. But we're 4-0. And of course, in the next week, we'll have Miami in the big game against Indiana. And we'll have, what's the next divisional rounds? Buffalo, Denver, San Francisco at Seattle. Buffalo at Denver, San Francisco at Seattle, Rams at Chicago. And to be determined, whoever wins tonight to play New England. And we'll stay on top of it. But we're 4-0. Just letting you know. 100% is pretty good. All right, unfortunately, we have to move on. So, the Sergeant Schultz defense is back at hand. So, as you know, we think most politicians are just full of crap. They're liars, cheaters, corrupt, some worse than others. They read poll numbers and will lose all of their soul and their conscience just for a re-election. Let me give you one example this weekend, and we're not making this up. The Marxist Party, who had said absolutely nothing about Jews being attacked, synagogues being attacked, Hamas being terrorists. Everybody in the Marxist Party started tweeting out how Hamas is terrorists. The people that were at a synagogue in New York City praising Hamas this weekend, these sick, twisted pricks. The Marxist Party, all of a sudden, all of them, including AOC, who hates Jews, including Mondami, who hates Jews, all out there saying we can't have this. Anti-Semitism's bad, blah, blah, blah. Guess what they all did? They got on some Zoom together, and they realized how stupid and moronic they look, so they had to change their whole frickin' stance, and that's what they did this weekend. Scum. Just a bunch of scum. That's just one thing. And then the Sergeant Schultz defense. So in case you don't know, the president came out and said he knew nothing about his Department of Justice putting out a criminal referral against Jay Powell because in testimony on Capitol Hill, something about renovations and that I guess he gave a wrong number or something stupid. So we're just letting you know, the president said he knows nothing about it. So you obviously know he's pissing down your back and telling you it's raining, right? You do know that, right? You do know he's lying, right? You do know he's full of crap, right? You do know all this is about is he's very upset that Jay Powell is not kowtowing to him, right? You do know he pardons people that he gets a bunch of campaign money from, right? You do know he says he's the drug-fighting president, but he pardoned the Honduras ex-president that was convicted, not indicted, but convicted of trafficking 200 tons of cocaine. You do know all of this, right? You do know he's just full of crap. And I hate saying this. I take no joy. I want him to win. I want him to do great things. He did great things with the border. Love it. But he's just a liar. He just makes things up. Oh, he knows nothing about the Department of Justice going after him. Didn't know anything about the Department of Justice going after other people that, by the way, went after him, and we took his side. So just letting you know, Powell came out with a video that said we're not, buying into this and we're just going to do our thing and we know what this is about and it's all politics and whatever. It just irritates the hell out of us when a president of the United States treat us like infants and treat us like we're idiots and to say, I know nothing. He directed the whole thing. And he went after other enemies also, so-called enemies, Comey and whatever. It's so depressing to watch. It really is. We had Biden for 4 years just lying out as you know what. 4 years of it. And you just hope. And now we have Joe Biden number 2. And he doesn't have to. There's no reason for this. Try and ruin a man's life. And as you know, I've been the biggest critic of his performance, Jay Powell. But this is different. So anyway, that happened, and the worry was the market was going to get hit, and the Dow was down 400 early in the day. It finished up 86, because if the market wants to go higher, it's going higher regardless of this. So that was a story today. And Jay Powell's going to be around till May, and you know what's going to happen after that? Jay Powell gets to say as a Fed governor to 2028 if he wants to. I got to tell you, if I was him, I'd get the hell out of there and just say, throw your hands up and go screw yourself, Trump. I'm out of here. Have a nice life. That's what I'd be doing. I gather he's wealthy. I just go to Spain for a couple of years and just go. You know what the no-win situations are? It's that. The guy's getting death threats, I'm sure. People are cursing him out. And also the Kool-Aid drinkers are acting like Trump knows what he's talking about. Trump keeps saying, oh, he's too late, he's too this, he's too that. No, Jay Powell should have been fired when he was printing to $9 trillion and taking rates down to 0.5% 10-year yield, which is what Trump wants. Jay Powell in the last year and change has taken rates from 5.25 down to 3.5. There's nothing wrong with that. Up next, we'll put a bow tie on it, and then we got to do credit cards before the market. I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. So, it just nauseates me because just like under Biden, I have to verify everything Trump says, and 9 out of 10 things is BS. The numbers he puts out are embellishment up the wazoo. You name it. Tariffs are paid by China. Insulting of the intelligence. But the big thing is the Kool-Aid drinkers. So in the last year, whatever, Powell has lowered rates from 5.25 to 3.5. He is now buying up bonds, which is a form of quantitative easing. He's doing everything Trump wants. But you know what Trump needs to do? He loves enemies. So let's make him an enemy. Anyway, if I was Jay Powell, hey, Donald, I'm out of here. Have a nice life. Anyway, we have 3 more years of this nonsense. Next. And by the way, and the shame of it is he does some really good things also. Credit cards. Trump out of nowhere proposes there should be a 10% cap on credit cards. So American Express was down $16 today. Capital One was down $16. MasterCard was down $9. Was worse. Geez, MasterCard was actually down 20 and finished down 9. And Visa was down 11, finished down 6, and Synchrony Financial was down $7. They are private label credit cards. I'm pretty sure they hit the buy now, pay later crap. AFRM was down 6%. What's that other one? Upstart was down 8%. So let me tell you my opinion of that. I hate it. So as you know, Donald Trump does not care about free markets. He's an interventionist. He's not a capitalist. Capitalism is about the free flow of businesses and markets. He is an interventionist. We call it control freakism. That's why he wants to put in all his buddies into the Fed so they lower rates down to 1. He doesn't realize, because he doesn't know me and never heard of me, that I'm the guy who predicted massive inflation under Powell when they printed and got too easy money. If he sat down with me right now, I would tell him if they try going down to 1%, the 10-year yield's going to go to 7 or 8 and all hell's going to break loose. But he wouldn't listen to me anyhow. Anyway, here's the problem with telling credit cards they can only charge 10%. It's simple. Number one, you're being anti-capitalist. You're being an interventionist. You are being a control freak, and that in itself is a problem. You already know the government's been buying into companies, which also irritates the heck out of me. I don't like seeing that either. And he's directing this, directing that. Apple pays $1.8 billion in tariffs and goes to the White House. Tim Cook bends the knee, and all of a sudden they get exemptions. None of this we like. So you tell the credit card companies all you can charge is 10. Oh, the 22 you can't do that anymore. So here's what happens. You ready? They're going to cancel a crap load of what they deem riskier cards. A ton of them. Out of nowhere, you are going to get a letter from whoever issues cards saying, because of this, it has eaten into our business, this, that, and the other thing, and what you get, you owe $7,000 on your credit card, where you can no longer use the credit card, but feel free to pay it off as long as you need be at 10% plus whatever the late fees are. That would be number one. That would be number one. Number two, the market cap of these companies would drop by hundreds of billions, so shareholder wealth would go down. And number three, job losses. You can't tell companies what they can charge. Now, I know they're doing it with drugs and this and that, but I give them the due on that because a lot of the government pays that stuff. I'm actually pretty good. I don't like price controls, but when I see my bills, if I go to a doctor or a hospital and see how convoluted and crazy it is, I still remember in '87, my wife was in the hospital for ulcerative colitis, and she got a bill that had Tylenols for $26 for two. And they said it was cost sharing. It's just sheer insanity. But no, I don't like anything about him dictating to credit card companies. And I know it's noble and they're talking about affordability, but I will let you know that would distort things and make it everything worse. Just like I say, he should not get involved in the housing market. The housing market is also fixing itself. So we're not happy with the president this weekend. We wish he was a capitalist, not an interventionist. We wish he would stop targeting people he doesn't like, but he don't care what we think. I'm just nobody. And I could be a very big help to him if he listened to us. But I'm hearing he had a lot of people in his purview begging him not to do this thing with Jay Powell, and he still did it anyhow, so why would he listen to me? Anyway, that's the story, and the Dow was down 400 on the open. I'm thinking to myself, why does the market have to go down because he's targeting Jay Powell? And the Dow finished up 86. Strength today, Goldman Sachs up 10. I guess they don't have credit cards. Caterpillar up 12, and a pretty decent artificial intelligence trade today for some of the weak stuff. You know how we've been talking about the big bear market in CoreWeave? That was up like 10% today, still down 55% from last June, but good move. Oracle, nice little move above the big number of 200 today, still down from 345, but better. And some of these down and out tech / artificial intelligence, pretty darn good day. I didn't see any news on it. Just we came into this year and you got a nice bid in that area. Simple as that. A nice bid. You got new highs. I think the Dow's. I think everything's close to new highs. China had a strong overnight. Alibaba, I can tell you that turned up today with volume above the 50-day, though their numbers stink. Baidu, that is doing a IPO of their artificial intelligence chip company, that had a good day, just a good day for China. And even the FXI, it's an exchange traded fund for China, jumped above the 50-day today in a long range, but looks like it wants to do better. So that was good. The emerging markets ETF new high, the EFA index new high. Just I don't have much to complain about. Up next, this, that, and the other thing, or whatever else. I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. And I feel like I have to say this again because, there is a decent amount of people that have this thing. You have Trump derangement syndrome. I just want good policy and no bullcrap. Is that asking much from your leaders? Seriously, is that just asking much from your leaders? When I say to you, this guy campaigned for 10 years against the neocons, the warmongers, the interventionists with other countries, and now he even said this last week, if Greenland doesn't do this, we can do it the easy way or the hard way meaning military. Military in Greenland? And he's got people convinced. He makes up this story that if we don't do it, it's going to be China and Russia. Greenland's been who they are forever. It's just made up. And you have to remember, whether it's Trump, Biden, Obama before him, all these politicians, their mantra is to create a crisis and lie about the crisis in order to make a move. The climate change crisis. And go on and on. Greenland. Because of them. So it's just demoralizing. I think I said to you before, under Biden, that if my sons were young, I would not want them to look up to Biden. Why? Because his whole family's freaking corrupt. He on purpose opened the border, which puts us all in harm's way. Lies every day that the border's secure. Gave away billions to friends as he walked out the door. I have to say the same thing. If I had kids, I don't want them to be Donald Trump. I wouldn't mind them being rich. I don't want them lying. I don't want them BSing you. I don't want them targeting people, targeting the supposed enemies, and getting payoffs from I don't want it. And I take no joy. And my biggest worry is, I really do believe one of the big problems is he's got the world by the you-know-whats, right? So you think you can do no wrong. What happened during Liberation Day? The market crashed. They had to change their mind that day. And I know for a fact the White House was up and was going nuts over that weekend. And they finally backed down from the Liberation Day. The market dropped 10% in 2 days. And that was after already weakness. I am so wishing him the best. I so want good things to come from him. But this weekend was an absolute, for somebody like me that just wants just an absolute mess. And puts a man, Jay Powell, in harm's way now. He's in harm's way. For no good reason. That's my take. Rest of the market. So you're down 400, finish up 86. The two most important names, Caterpillar up 12, Goldman up 10. As I have told you, Goldman, the highest name, is 25 times more important to the down numbers, the index, than Verizon. Because it's price weighted. What's another cheap one? Let's see. Coke is only $70, so it's about 7 times 12. It's about 14 times more important than Coca-Cola. What else you got that's cheap? Cisco is only $73, about 14 times. Nike is only $65, so about 14 times And welcome to the world. And if Goldman and Caterpillar are doing well, I got news for you. It's going to be tough to break the Dow. Those are two names. There are some other heavy-priced names also. Microsoft's there, and Microsoft is not in a big bear market, but it's in a corrective mode. But nothing untoward. American Express is up there, down 8. What was it? Down 16 today. That's news-driven. But I got to tell you, I don't think that 10% is going to happen for the credit cards. By the way, one other thing Trump said this weekend, if they don't do what the law says, they're going to be in big trouble. There is no law about 10%. I don't understand why anybody says something that's not true that you can look up 5 seconds later. I know it sounds like I'm ripping on him, but I got to tell you, he earned it this weekend. And again, I'm hoping for great things. I'm really hoping for great things. I'm hoping for great things. All right, a few other notes. Bitcoin looks like a decent retest of a little higher low in its bear market. I can tell you if IBIT can get above 52.55, maybe a start. That's one of the Bitcoin ETFs. If GBTC can get above 72.45, you know what that start is? Jumping back up above a declining 50-day moving average. That would be a start. Leave no doubt, though, it would just be recovery in a pretty decent bearish phase. Gold and silver. I don't even know what to tell you. Silver was up 6.7% today. And remember we said for about 5 or 6 days you had these wild gaps, both up and down. And I said to you, that's often a sign of a trend change. And since the trend was up, maybe it starts heading down. New high ground today. Gold, new high ground. Though it's sold down a little bit from the highs today. The gold miners, new high ground, though it's sold off. And I get a lot of emails from people, isn't this a worry sign? Isn't it a worry sign for the economy? Isn't it a worry sign for the markets when gold and silver are skyrocketing? I would suggest to you in the past, yeah. And maybe in the future, yeah. Market don't care about it right now. Simple as that. Next, restaurants. Restaurants have turned the corner indeed. Even some bad news is getting bought up. And we say turn the corner, they stop going down and they're starting to build stair steps north, not south. And that's pretty much all of them right now. Wingstop jumped above a little range today. Texas Roadhouse really jumped above a little range today. Cheesecake Factory jumped above. Decent. By the way, they've had good moves over the last 6 days. Very good moves. Since the first day of the year, that's what where the money's been flowing into the stuff that was dead. And one could say that the end of the year was tax loss selling, and once we got into the new year, without that, here they go. Strong name Brinker International's coming on. The strongest name is Dine Brands. That's IHOP and Applebee's. Very strong. I just want to make sure you know the stock is below where it traded in 2004. But in the near term, pretty damn good action for some of these stocks. And is there any reason why restaurants? I have no idea. Don't know. Even Cracker Barrel's going up a little bit right now. Even Cracker Barrel. Commodities overall, again, strong. That is the steel, copper, aluminum, and all that. The housing stocks that got juice because the president is injecting $200 billion in mortgage-backed securities, up again today. Was better, up again today, and that's come up the right side also. Probably needs some rest, some pullback. China, as said, by the way, Japan also. China very strong, but if you look at the FXI, it's just a little bit above where it was last March and is still below the highs of September. But you know what we think of setups. We're always looking for something to set up to go north and south. China may set up to go north. Up next, this, that, and the other thing, and whatever else. This is the one only, Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. By the way, you know when I worry, Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders agree with the president on price caps. And obviously Elizabeth Warren knows nothing about capitalism except for corrupt capitalism, as she was a fraud in many years ago in claiming she was Indian heritage, and she got big money because of it and status. Just another corrupt slug. Just another corrupt slug that has a vote on our future in Washington, D.C. God, I hate all that. Okay, I'll be done with the president for today. Hopefully we have nothing to talk about tomorrow as far as that's concerned. Just want to point out the NASDAQ 100 have not broken out to new highs yet. They're in about a 12-week range, but that's because of weakness in Meta, Microsoft, Apple, Broadcom, Netflix, brutal bear market. Qualcomm's breaking down again. Amazon better but nothing special. Tesla better but nothing special. 8 stocks. $65 to 70% of the NASDAQ 100. Some people dispute that. I have it. Go to slickcharts.com. It's right there. If those 8 stocks underperform and the other 92 perform, you end up with an index going nowhere. That's how crazy things are. We bought the Qs with the spiders back in late April. We don't own the Qs right now because of that underperformance. But if the Qs break out, we'll be there again. But that will only be because you're getting better action during earnings season for some of these mega cap names. Number one, I forgot to mention NVIDIA. NVIDIA stock, with all the talk, trading at 185. 184.94. August 5th, it traded at 184.48. It's up 50 cents from August 5th. August to September to October to November to December, 5 months of no gains, and is down from 212 back in November. 16 and 12 is 28. It's down about 13% from the highs, which is not bad. But that's also the number one stocks in the QQQ. I think it's 14%. I'm pretty sure. So that's 14 times what the average should be. And it's up there in the S&P also. So that's why that is underperforming, where the S&P is new highs, mid-caps, Russell, transports. So it is pretty broad-based right now. We'll keep you in mind if it changes. You know we got a big mouth. I'm pretty sure what's going on here is massively easy money again. You've had 300 to 400 rate cuts around the globe. You have Jay Powell go from 5.25 to 3.5, and is now going even easier by not letting the printed money run off. He's taking that money, he's buying bonds, and then you throw in President Trump with the $200 billion of mortgage bonds, which, by the way, got mortgage rates down late last week. But watch the 10-year yield. It's still hanging below the 4.2%. If the 10-year yield breaks above that, something to be watching closely. But as far as markets go, I can pick out where the bear markets are. I can pick out the bearish stocks. All I can tell you, since coming into the new year, the worst stocks are better. It feels like it was late year selling for tax loss. Broad market has picked up. New yearly highs have picked up. But we'll keep close watch. There's a lot of moving parts right now. And let's not forget, valuations are definitively on the expensive side. Definitively. I heard somebody say, but don't worry. Okay, we'll worry. Also want to mention some of the froth has picked up. Remember, 3 months ago we said, look out, and we didn't know the timing. A lot of the froth dropped 50 to 70%. They're bouncing them too now. But what's the story behind those? If they continue to have no sales and market worsens, they all go back to where they came from. The hope is some of these get big sales. The poster child, OKLO, supposedly signed some deals to do some things. I have no idea how long it's going to take, when they'll have sales, but it bounced up a little bit because of that. But if we start hearing, not for 5 years, look out below. So we're in the middle of getting the middle of January. So far, so good. I will tell you this week, a lot of the banks reporting. I can tell you tomorrow, Bank of New York, JP Morgan. Wednesday, Bank of America, Citigroup, Wells Fargo. Thursday, BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley. Friday, M&T Bank, PNC, Regions Financial, and State Street. It will not be the news. It will be how things react to the news. And as you know, we're up a little earlier in the morning, and we're done at work a little bit later when we get into earnings season, and we are just about there. Next week, it really starts to pick up. This week, it's a few. Next week, it'd be a bunch. And I'm most interested in these semis, because some of them have made some serious moves based on, we'll find out in time. We do know SanDisk raised numbers big time, as well as a few others. Others not so sure. That all said, let me repeat, we're rooting for him. You all have a great evening. Drive carefully. When you get home, do like I do. It's simple. Make sure you hug your family, hug your children. They'll feel better. You will feel better. I say that at my sleep. Stay well, be well. We'll stay on top of it. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.